British micro makers are in Moscow to bid for Soviet government contracts. IT Minister Geoffrey Patty is told government cuts will hit youth training at information technology centres. And Apricot moves towards IBM compatibility as they launch Zen. A group of British micro makers is now in Moscow trying to persuade the Russian government to buy British. The trade mission, led by ICL, will be demonstrating British microcomputers to more than 50 Soviet government departments, including the Education Ministry. The Soviet bloc is banned from buying the West's more sophisticated computers. Information Technology Minister Geoffrey Patty has been told that government cuts will hit high-technology training for young unemployed people. He was given the warning as he toured Blackpool's Information Technology Centre. It's claimed that government funding plans will hit some of the 170 centres. A spokesman for the Department of Trade and Industry says when the ITECs were set up, they were expected to be self-sufficient within 3 years. Apricot has launched a new business micro and for the first time offers some IBM compatibility. Called the Zen, the new top-of-the-range machine uses 286 processors, Microsoft Windows, and is claimed to be 4 times faster than an IBM PC. Starting at just over £2,000, Apricot hope it will secure a slice of the lucrative top-end business market. It uses a 3.5-inch micro floppy disk, and its move towards IBM compatibility is achieved through an add-on 5-inch disk and emulator software. The machine follows the current trend of built-in telephone and communications software. It's made in Scotland and will be available at the end of the month. The battle over which microcomputer operating systems will be industry standard has taken a major turn, as Wendy Woods reports from California.
The battle between IBM and AT&T heated up this week as AT&T introduced a micro which competes with IBM's phenomenally selling PC-AT. The 6300 Plus runs Unix and IBM's PC-DOS, the first machine ever to do so. But the fact that it's IBM compatible means that the telephone giant has thrown in the towel in trying to make Unix alone the new industry standard. This is Wendy Woods reporting from Silicon Valley for Micro Live.
And finally, Japan says it will ban the export of computers to South Africa's police and armed forces because of the country's policy on apartheid.
Thank you, Lesley. Well, a maintenance contract for your computer seems on the face of it a very good idea. If you are totally dependent on the computer data, you just can't afford to have blank VDUs. So worried corporate computer users find this kind of advert very tempting.
5% of the cost of the system per year nationwide. This cost is for a fully comprehensive contract including parts, labour and travelling with a 24-hour response and fixed time.
Sounds good. 5% is a third to a half normal charge. But when David Greenhalgh of Sonat Offshore signed up with Sullivan's, he discovered that 24 hours could be a very long time. Sullivan's standard contract reads very differently from their advert.
To its best endeavours, Sullivan's will start equipment repair within 24 hours of the client's request. Sullivan's will install replacement loan units for standard equipment and at no extra cost. This installation is subject to availability.
Sullivan's best endeavour for Sonat Offshore meant a fastest response time of 2 days. No replacement machine for an IBM XT which was taken away for repair, then returned without its mains lead, and unfulfilled promises that engineers would call. In fact, Sonat became so dissatisfied that earlier this year they successfully sued Sullivan's for breach of contract. And Sullivan's has had dissatisfied customers before. The Advertising Standards Authority has this year upheld 2 complaints about adverts for Sullivan's and for their holding company, Computer Hardware Maintenance.
We spoke to Sullivan's managing director, Chris Sullivan, who told us that he disagreed with the facts according to Sonat and was appealing against the court order. He also said that the Advertising Standards Authority had upheld one of the complaints simply because his letter of explanation had not arrived until the day of their decision.
A London company who wants to remain anonymous were dissatisfied with the maintenance service offered by their computer supplier, Systime. Too late, they discovered that not a single word in their contract referred to Systime's obligation to actually repair the machines. And when the company tried to get out of the contract, they discovered that Systime
would expect a substantial cancellation fee for termination of a contract which has only run 2 of its 5 years.
This month, Which Computer magazine has a cover story about computer maintenance companies. And I've been joined by their editor, Lynn McTaggart. Welcome, Lynn.
Thank you.
Tell me, are these isolated cases or is it very common?
It's very common. To find out just how good the average maintenance contract is, we sent out questionnaires to 3,000 of our subscribers, and we were very surprised by the results, because while some are victims of cowboys, almost everybody is a victim of the fine print in contracts of otherwise reputable companies. There's all manner of escape clauses allowing these companies to get away with murder.
I went through a few contracts and looked at them myself, and there's one I think is quite a good contract where it says this company agrees to provide maintenance service to keep the equipment in good working order and condition and in accordance with the manufacturer's specification. Now that sounds very clear and logical, but this other one says the service shall provide both remedial and preventive maintenance. But it didn't say what they're going to achieve by this. Is this the difference between a cowboy and a respectable company?
Well, I think most contracts read like the latter. They very carefully specify response time when somebody's going to arrive, but they don't actually say that their job is to fix the computer.
What should they look for in a good contract then?
Well, what you have to avoid is, first of all, you have to have it clearly stated that they're supposed to come quickly and repair the equipment. Secondly, you've got to have your solicitor look over the length of contract, length of time it's supposed to run. Many contracts say that you can cancel at the end of the minimum period. Let's say that's 5 years, or on the anniversary of the minimum period. This means it's actually a 6-year contract. And if you miss the appointed day when you're supposed to do it, it's actually a 7-year contract. Then there's the term best endeavors. If ever there was an escape clause, that's it. What that means is that legally, they may use their best endeavors to fix your kit, but they don't actually have to get it up and running again.
One of my friends was rather astonished when his son came in and said he got a job as a computer maintenance engineer, microcomputer maintenance engineer. He asked what qualifications have he got for this job, because he knew he had none. He said, well, I have a driving license. All I have to do is drive there, clean the disk, and take the machine away if I can't understand it. He was totally without any qualifications. Is that the sort of tricks they play?
Well, again, in the contract, it doesn't say anything about how good the engineer has to be. So if you're just looking at, if the contract's just saying that he has to get there at a certain time, any yabo can show up with a screwdriver in his hand.
And that actually does happen?
Oh, yes, in many cases, yes.
Well, tell me, how would you set about looking for a good maintenance company?
I think, first of all, when you're looking into a maintenance company, ask for a list of their customers, and don't be afraid to ring them up and ask them about their service. Become an informed consumer yourself, and to that end, Which Computer is giving away a free booklet this month that talks about avoiding these pitfalls. Finally, make sure your solicitor drafts the contract, not the maintenance company.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very useful. And now, news of the first Microlive of 1986. On January the 17th, the programme will come from the Which Computer Show in Birmingham. And as well as a look at the show itself, we'll be featuring the presentation of the Microlive Rita Awards. These awards, presented in association with the show's organisers, Carner's Exhibitions Limited, are designed to recognise achievement in British information technology. The winners each receive one of these trophies, and there are 6 categories: Business Computer System, User of the Year, Newcomer of the Year, Personality of the Year, Systems Innovation, and Software Product of the Year. If you've come across a company or a product that you think deserves any of these awards, then you can nominate them by writing to Rita Awards Administrator, 59 London Road, Twickenham, Middlesex, TW1 3SZ, and the closing date is the 28th of October.
And finally, if you'd like more information about anything featured on Microlive, there are programme notes available from a variety of sources. On CFX, page 700, on Telecom Gold, just type Info BBC, and on the Microlive bulletin board, that's 01579 2288. That's at 300 board, incidentally. And if you don't have the technology, it'll cost you 50p. You can just write to the address which will be given after the programme.
Well, that's all for this week. Next Friday, we'll have the winner of the Computer Animation Film Festival and news of a challenge in which you might win £8,000 of prizes. Until then, goodbye.